Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Really pleased to see you here again. So I'm out here on a farm property, and tonight we are going to do some nightscape photography, and in particular some light painting. Now it's at the moment, as you can see, beautiful, clear. It's about 5:30 in the afternoon, but our subject for tonight's shoot is in the background. Can you see the old truck down there in the paddock? The old Austin truck. I've shot it a few times in the past, but I'm coming back to do some light painting. And what I'm going to attempt to do tonight for you guys is show you live in the field how I actually go about doing the light painting on the truck. So I thought what I would do is come out here during the daytime while you can still see the surroundings, so you can get a bit of an idea of the conditions that I'm looking for, the direction I'm going to be shooting, and the angles I'm looking to set up for my shoot. So I think what I'll do, I'll take you down and I'll show you exactly what I'm going to do. All right, so here we are, close to the old girl. Look, to be honest, it's seen better days, but you know, that's exactly the type of subject matter that I like to feature in my nightscape photography. So my intention when I come down here to shoot a subject such as this is to firstly have a look at what's in the background. Now, I also want to know what stars I'm going to capture in the background and whatever else there may be. So I'm facing in an easterly direction here, and that's perfect for the rising Milky Way core. Later on tonight, there will be a rising Milky Way core. At the moment, I'm not sure you can see this down there, but there's been controlled burning happening. So it's after summer here in Australia, and what they often do is get out there whilst it's not too hot and before the rains come, and they burn off excess undergrowth and so forth. So there's a fair bit of smoke in the sky down there. I don't really know what that's going to do as far as our conditions later on when it's dark, but I can tell you there's a little bit of light pollution on that horizon. Now, one of the things that I totally understand that a lot of you people live in areas with heavy light pollution. Well, I'm a fair way away from heavy light pollution, and I don't mind a little bit of light pollution because it's not going to destroy the sky above, but it does give a nice glow underneath clouds that may be on the horizon, and in this case, perhaps that's smoke as well. Now I want you to have a look back there behind the truck, and you will see some trees way back, hundreds of meters back behind the truck. Now, one of the things I often do when I'm searching out my compositions is to look what's in the background, because I really don't want those trees to interrupt the line of the top of the truck here in this case. So what I'm going to do later on when I shoot here, I'm going to put my camera nice and low, pretty much where this camera is now, so that I've got a low horizon line. And I always look for a low horizon line because what that does, it features the foreground subject. The other thing it will do is it will actually give me more of the sky because I'm pointing up more. So I don't really want that tree in the background to interrupt the cabin of the truck. So how do I fix that? Really quite simple. I just move my camera just a little bit over this way. The Milky Way is going to come up over there, and it's going to go right across the top of the truck. It's going to be around midnight, maybe after midnight when that's in the right place. So there we go. I'm going to lose a bit more sleep tonight. But my intention is to come out here and actually do the lighting on the truck. And I'm going to use my fine art light painting method. So I'm going to run through it and try to illustrate live on camera, which is not easy to do, but I'm going to try and do it and show you exactly how I actually light the foreground subject. So I'm looking forward to get back out here a bit later on tonight. Okay, well, here we are back out in the middle of the night. We're going to go down and light paint the old truck, and what an absolutely beautiful night it is. Have a look. There's stars everywhere. There's hardly any wind, a little bit crisp temperature wise, which I absolutely love. Oh man, I just can't wait. Come on, let's get going. All right, well, here we are at the truck, as you can see, And the first thing I want to do is establish where I'm going to shoot from. So I reckon somewhere about here. But remember, I spoke earlier about the fact that there are trees back down there in the background. Now I've got to make sure that those trees are not interrupting my field of view. Now how do I do that here? I've just arrived in the dark. I can't see anything down the back there. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is turn all the lights off, let my eyes adjust a little bit to my surroundings, and you'll be absolutely surprised how quickly you can see stuff. You can just see shapes and things in the background. And I know for sure I'll be able to see that tree down there. And then my second course is just to take a test shot. It doesn't have to be framed up exactly how I want it, just a test shot. And then I can have a look at the picture and say, yeah, I need to move the camera a little bit one way or the other. And of course the Milky Way is coming up behind the truck. Oh gee, it looks awesome over there. I can't wait. All right, that's what I'm going to do. So let's get started. Okay, so I've done that. So my next step is to work out other parameters for my shooting. So I've decided initially what I'm going to do here is to shoot a number of images of the night sky. So for those who don't know, my fine art light painting method means that I need to find a fixed camera position, and what I'm going to do is shoot the background sky, and I'll probably shoot about 10 shots to stack for noise reduction, because that's what I typically do in a situation like this. And then without moving the tripod camera at all, I will then make some adjustments, which I'll run through a bit later, onto the camera settings, and then I will actually light the foreground. And so that's what I classify as my fine art light painting method. And I'm going to run you through how that all works. Okay, so what I do now is I work out the parameters that I'm going to use for this shot. I've worked out that I'm going to use f2.8 15-second shutter speed at ISO 6400. Now, I will do a test shot, and I'll just do a bit of light painting, just light the subject up so I can see it. And for those of you who have been out here on this workshop with me, and you'll know what I'm talking about, I run it around like a headless chook, just lighting both sides of the truck in a 15-second shutter speed. So I've only got 15 seconds. I'm not going to use it. I'm only using it as a reference shot so I can just work out my composition and make sure I've got enough of the foreground or not too much foreground and things like that. So let's do it. Okay, so I've taken that shot, looks pretty good. I've worked out my composition. I've got the tree hidden behind the truck, and the Milky Way core is coming right out of the truck. Looks pretty good, happy with that. So what I'm going to do now is simply take 10 shots in a row with no lights on at all, and I will use that to stack my background sky image. So let's do it. Okay, so there you can see the images that I just took. So there's 10 of them, and they look pretty good. I'm very happy with those. If you look at the histogram, just have a look at that. You can see that it's off there fairly much over to the left-hand side. A lot of people ask me about histograms, and that's where I would expect most of these histograms are going to look. So the settings you can see there, f2.8, 15-second shutter speed, ISO, where is it, 6400, and a white balance of 4500, and 10 shots. Can't wait. We're going to now get onto the light painting of that baby down there. But before we can do that, there's a really important step that I'm going to take, and I'm going to explain now why I'm taking this step. I've taken my images focused to infinity on the stars in the background. Okay, now I can tell you that where I am at the moment, the camera's here, so I'll just count it out for you. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, well let's say 5.5 meters up to the front of the truck. Now, with my settings at f2.8 at ISO 6400, 15 seconds, the truck's blurry. It's out of focus at that distance. It's too close to be in focus. Now, a simple thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to stop down my aperture to about f5.6 for this exercise. I'm going to leave my shutter speed at 15 seconds, but critically, I'm going to lower my ISO down to about 500. And why do I do that, you ask? Well, as soon as I close down my aperture to f5.6, I'm vastly increasing my depth of field. So now my infinity focus point is somewhere about here, about 3 or 4 meters away from the camera. So the truck is easily in focus. I don't even have to refocus the camera at all. A lot of people ask me about this, and you know, my challenge to you is to not believe me and just try it for yourself. And by lowering my ISO, I'm actually getting a much cleaner image. Now, these two factors alone are all that you have to do. When you lower your ISO down, you're actually extending the dynamic range of your camera, which I think is also really, really critical step. We might have a really poor dynamic range at a high ISO, but once we start lowering the ISO down, we have a much wider. That means you get better whites and better blacks, less blowouts. In fact, that's the very reason I'm stacking so many images of the sky back there. I shot 10 of them because I want to stack them for noise reduction, because one image is just a bit too noisy. So all of these things come into play. So just keep that in mind. f5.6, 15 seconds at ISO 500. Okay, now just one more thing. I've got my trusty remote control wireless remote shutter so that I don't have to keep going back to the camera. Now the first thing I'm going to do is go over here off to the back of the vehicle. Now you know from previous episodes of my channel that I never ever light my subject from the same angle as the camera. So I'm going to start here at the back of the truck. Got my remote release. I've got my torch here on its low power setting, and I'm just going to release the shutter, and I'm just going to light paint gently. You'll notice what I'm doing here. I'm close to the truck and I'm actually light painting quite gently on this area, just to light the back of the truck up. That's all we want to do. That one's taken. Let's move up to the front. Now you'll notice I'm very, very close to the truck, and that's deliberate because I want to get the detail in the truck. I don't want to stand way back there because the closer I get, the better the detail of the truck's going to be. So here we go. Just release the shutter. Off we go again. I'm lighting this area of the truck here. Got to be a bit careful with windows because they reflect light a lot. Hone in a bit on those front wheels and that should do the trick. Awesome. Now, one other thing I like to do on this truck is to get over the front here and create light on this part of the bonnet of the truck. And I'm looking for drama, so that's what I like to do. So let's give that a go. Release the shutter. Now, I'm lighting this from above, moving the torch a lot, because if I don't, I might get hot spots. So I've just got to be really careful of that. And I'm pretty happy with that. And that's finished. So now I'm going to move over to this side. Before I do that though, I'm going to check these shots. You have to check them every now and then, just to make sure that what you're doing is coming out okay. Oh, now, just in case you're wondering what's just happened, I've had to put a lens warmer on my camera because I noticed it started to fog up. So I'll put a lens warmer on, bit of a delay, had to unfog the lens. We're going to do the front of the truck now. So I'm coming over here. I want to be careful because I know that these headlights and any chrome that happens to be on the front of the truck or any other vehicle is going to reflect back more. So I'm just off to the side a little bit, and here we go. Just a gentle light on the front of the truck. Sometimes I zoom the light in a bit more, and sometimes underneath just to get a bit more detail. And yeah, that should do the trick. The other thing I'm going to do from out here, I'm just going to light some of the grass down on a low level like this, just a sweep. And you can see I'm sweeping across here, just so that I can get some of that grass in the frame, just to see if there's something I can do with that. I might not even use it. Now another shot that I may need, and not 100% I'll need it, but I'm going to do it anyway, is another top shot from this side. So I'm also mindful that I can definitely get a reflection up here in the windscreen when I do this. And I want you to notice how close I am to the truck doing this. So a lot of you are probably thinking, you're way too close, because your light is going to interfere with the truck. It won't, as long as it's not in line with the camera. So the camera's there, and I'm over this side. All right, here we go. Now I'm just going to come down over the top of the grille at the front a little bit, because that might actually be a good thing to do. A little bit of light on the windscreen, but I'm going to check and see if that actually flares. All right, So that's what I'm going to do. Just have a quick look on my camera. So you have to keep coming back to check the camera because it's really easy to get reflections and things in the wrong spot. Oh, that looks beautiful. I'll show you in a minute. One thing I am getting is my blue off the microphone. I've got a Rode Wireless Go on my pocket here and it has a blue LED light on it. It's no big drama. So I think I'm pretty happy with this. Well, it's 2 more shots I'm going to take. The first one, I'm just going to get over this side over here and just do a light sweep of the ground from a bit of a distance back. So again, I'm over here on about a 45-degree angle and I'm just going to sweep around like this. So here we go. Shutter. And I'm just going to go nice and low. I might not even need this, but I'm going to do it anyway, just in case. All right. That should do the trick. All right, so one of the things I really like to do is put a warm LED light panel. So this is a Z96 on a reasonably low level, just up on the seat here. Okay, so just have a look in here. This is what we're dealing with. Spider webs, torn seats. Have a look at that. What an absolute ripper this is. Don't you just love that? So anyway, there's my light on the seat, just pointing up, and that's enough to light the interior of the vehicle for that warm sort of interior light shot. Now I don't always use it, but it's good to have it anyway. Okay, so you can see there I've taken, 7 or 8 shots of the truck at those settings with the closed down aperture, lower ISO, and basically what I'm looking for there is to find more of a sweet spot for my lens. I will definitely get sharper images by shooting this way. And this is what I classify as my fine art light painting method. So you can see the individual shots that I took right there now. Now, I'm not going to go into the full edit of this video. I haven't got time for that. I've got a whole lot of other videos on my channel which go into the intricacies of editing my fine art light painting images, and you can see references to those down below this video. Suffice to say, I put them all into Lightroom and I edit those images a little bit depending on what it needs to do. I stack the sky images in Sequator and create one nice, clean, noise-free image. From there, I send them all into Photoshop, and in Photoshop I blend them all together using the light and blend mode. I rub out the sky using layer masks and then introduce my stacked sky, end up with a beautiful, clean image. And that's the essence of how I light paint all of my images. Now I know it's difficult on video, live out here in the dark, to be absolutely sure, but I hope that this video has given you some idea into how I think and how I go about doing what I do. Now, I fully understand the lighting side of things. It all depends on the light source that you're using. Now, I was using my LED Lenser P7.2 torch. It also has a half CTO gel across the front. And the reason I use that is because the LED lights have a very blue tinge. And so I've set my white balance to about 4500 Kelvin, and having that half CTO gel is just enough to give it a little bit better color balance. Now I can adjust that in post-production, I totally understand that, but I like to start off somewhere in the ballpark of what I think to be roughly about the right color. And apart from that, it's just a matter of being creative with the way that you apply the light. Remember, off on angles, never lighting from front on. And then it's just a matter of getting those individual components, making sure you've covered enough of the area. Yes, we make sure we do that. But apart from that, it's not that difficult because the formula doesn't change very much from subject to subject. Now, having said that, if this truck was painted white, then I would have a lot different time frame with my exposures. I would make sure my torch wasn't as bright and possibly shoot for a lesser time. So being a dirty old brown color, it's not reflecting light too much. And one other thing you do find sometimes is when the truck itself is wet with dew or frost or whatever, it reflects the light back a lot more. So you have to be a little bit careful of that. But overall, I think I'm pretty happy with this image. And so there you have it. This is my fine art light painting method, shooting the old Austin truck here, and it's been an absolutely gorgeous night out here under the stars. And you know, it pretty much always is. What else would you want to be doing on a night like this? So, thank you so much for watching. I'd be happy to chat with you in the comments down below. Any questions you have about the methods that I'm using here and the tools I use or any of the camera settings, don't hesitate. I'm really keen to chat with you down below. And I'll see what I'm up to. I'm not quite sure. I'm going on a bit of a road trip, so I'm not quite sure that you're going to see a whole lot of me for a little while. But the good thing is, on my road trip, I'm taking all my gear, taking my videos, camera, taking the lot. So I'll come back with a bit of a road trip adventure. All right, I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Have a fantastic week. I'll see you later.